Welcome to the Trello instructional video. We are looking through the Trello program and learning what we can about it together. As you can see here, we have what is called the highlights. This is a feed of sorts that you can use similar to your timeline in Facebook. Also here we have the recently viewed section, and over here on the left we have your home, your boards, and your teams in list form, so you can keep track of everything all at once. This is for people that may want to do everything at once or have access to everything at once. So that's what this area is really for. And again, it's very similar to the timeline function of your Facebook. We're going to go to boards, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples. This is a board that I made when I was testing out the program. It was a good function for us. We were able to, get some really cool things going around here and just get a feel for the program. So now we're going to go back, and we're going to take a look at the board that I actually wanted to use for learning. So here we are going to learn everything on our list, and hopefully you will have a mastery of this program so that you can increase the functionality of this office space. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at list making. That's going to be our first card that we're going to take a look at. So if you look, you can click and you can open up the card itself, and there will be some more functions involving that. So we're going to take list making, we're going to move it over to learning. Now this is, as you just saw, it's a drag and drop function, so you can just drag it and drop it wherever you want, and you can even move it up and down inside of a list, but for now we're going to move it over to our learning tab because that's what we're working on right now. So list making, it's a very simple idea. We're going to go over here. They've made it nice and easy for us, and they just say add another list, so you're going to click, and then you are going to type a list. So let's call this one learning to make a list. It's simple enough. And then within that list, it automatically allows you to make a card. So you're going to enter a title for a card. So I'm just going to type in something like make a list. Really simple task. Really easy little card to put in there. So then I can just, make a list, and you can immediately put a card into that list to make sure people know what kind of tasks go within it, or you can make sure that those tasks are already categorized in a correct fashion. And then you can make as many lists about as many things as you want. So this one, it's a to-do list, so it can be any list of things that you think people need to get done. And then over here, you could put in oh, that's not right. You can put in a doing list, so oh, this is on the to-do list, and these are the things that are being done right now. Everything is done in real time, so as people move cards to other lists, you're going to be able to watch. Then all you have to do to get rid of a list is you click on these three little dots, and then you can go down to archive this list, and it will actually take the list and all the cards within it if you don't want those cards anymore either, and get rid of them. And they're out of your way. So now we can take list making, we can move it over to our learned file, because we have mastered list making. And fun fact, we actually looked into and learned how to make cards by learning how to make lists, so we're going to go ahead and move that over there as well. And we've taken care of both of them. Okay, so now we see that our card making that we learned is not quite the same. It seems we have some notifications, so we're going to take a look in here. Oh man, there's a bunch of things that we haven't done and not completely done. Someone has let us know that this is not finished yet. So we're going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to move it back into the learning pile. So what do we need to do? We need to do assignments, due dates, labels, comments, checklists, and attachments. So we're going to find these over here, and we're going to add them to our learning file. Comments and checklists. We have assignments. There's assignments, due dates, labels, and adding attachments. Okay, so now it's time to take care of these one by one. So we're going to go to card making, take a look. The first thing that it has is assignments. So let's start there. So assignments is right here. we're going to add our assignments now. So how you assign somebody is you go up here to who all is in the group, and I'm going to assign this one to Daedra. So I'm going to take Daedra, I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag her down to assignments. And now she is now in charge, or I have assigned to her, learning how to make assignments. Well, we have also learned how to make assignments in that process. So we can go in here, we're going to go ahead and check this off. We now know how to make assignments on our cards. And up here you see a little bar telling us we've got 17% of this mastered. So we're going to take assignments, and we're going to drag it over here to learned. I'm going to set it here. Now we're going to take a look at our due dates. So due dates are in this fun little tab right here inside of your, so you click on your card and you'll go in here and you'll click on due date. And you have the ability to select any date on this calendar. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to type it. And it says it's due on the 9th, which was this past Saturday. So we're going to go ahead and make it due instead this coming Friday, the 15th. So now it is due on the 15th, and we know that, and it'll show us that on its label. So we come out here and we look and say due dates, and it says it's due June 15th, and it's going to be due at noon, and we can say that. So we put it in learned because we now understand how to do due dates. We'll go ahead and check that off our list. So next we're going to take a look at labels. So we're going to go down to labels. Now, when you go in here, it's the same idea. You click on labels. I've made a couple of, some test ones. We're going to go ahead and label this one important because it is important. But if you look here on the sides, you could change it to be whatever you want it to be. But for now, we're just going to label this one important and let people know that this one matters. And if you hover over here on the top like that, like you go off to here to the side, but you can hover over this and it'll say what that color means. You can have more than one label, it just depends on what you need it for. So we're going to go ahead and take labels and put it in learned. So we'll go back into our card making, and we'll say we've learned how to make labels. Next, we're going to work on comments. Comments are really easy, and they help keep the communication on a certain project localized. So I'm going to go ahead and write down we need to finish this. Because we definitely need to finish this. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Now that comment is saved into that card. So anyone who looks at this card can see that comment. Now I'm going to say that I want to @ somebody, and I'm going to @ Emily Stanley, and I'm going to say keep an eye on this. So now Emily's going to get a very specific notification saying that she was specifically called out on something. She'll be able to view it and see that I said that. So I'm not just going to say her name and hope she sees it. She's going to get a specific notification telling her that that happened, saying she needs to look at it. That lets her know it's important to her. Now that we know how comments work, we're going to go ahead and we're going to shift that into learned. So great, we know how to make comments. That's awesome. So now we're going to go into checklists, because those are really easy. You're going to click our checklist button. You can title your checklist whatever you want it to be. We're just going to title ours checklist. Keep it really simple. So we'll go ahead and just call it checklist. So our first item will be make a checklist. Really simple. We already did that, so we'll be able to check it off really quick. And then check off our checklist. Also really simple, because we're going to do that almost immediately. So then we can just go click, click, and it says that we are 100% complete on this checklist. And looky there, the little notification lets us know there as well. So then we can take that and move it over into learned, and everyone knows that that checklist is completely taken care of. So we've taken care of checklists, and we're almost done. Adding attachments. This little area right here is super important because it has a lot of functionality to it. So the drag and drop function, you could go to your files. This will open up really quickly. Alright, and let's say you wanted to put in a picture, so you'd go to your pictures, and then you go to your saved pictures, maybe that's where it is, and then you would go into this folder and you would pull something out of it and you would drag it. You wouldn't click it, but you drag it from there, and you could immediately just drop it right there in that little dotted area, and it would put it in there. Or you can click on choose your files. You can go from the computer, you can go from Trello itself, a Google Drive, a Dropbox, a Box account, a OneDrive, or you can attach a link. So that could be a link to a YouTube video, or a link to a website with a great article about this particular subject, and suddenly everyone has access to it. So, adding attachments, we can move to learn, which means that in card making, we have now 100% mastered card making and cards. So, we're going to go ahead and say that it is done. Let everyone know by adding this little comment. Let everyone know it's done and taken care of. Now that that's finished, we're going to go ahead and exit out of this. And then we can take card making and we can move it into learned officially. And now we know it's done. So we've covered a lot. That's good. So we'll keep moving from here. So now we're going to start covering some of our more technical things, like adding members. Adding members is really simple. They make it very easy for us. Right up here in the top, there's a little button here. You're going to click it, and you can add any member via email address or by their Trello name. Or you can, if you don't have that, you can go down here and you can invite people by giving them a very special link. So it'll give you a link and you can send it in and it'll have it for you, and then you can add your members. So now I've got that learned. Next, we are going to work on our privacy status assignment. So we're going to go ahead and move that to learning. So privacy status assignment is, no, it's not this one. It is this one right here to the right. So we're going to click on this. You can make this board private, so only people added to the board can view it and edit it. So only the people that I've added to this board are now able to look at this at any point in time. No one else can look at it. So if I click on this private again, I can change it so it's visible to the team. So now everyone that I've assigned to this particular team, the test team, is capable of looking at it, or I could assign it as public. So that makes it visible to anyone who wants to search it on Google even, but still only people that have been added to the board specifically are allowed to edit it. Even if it's visible to them, they cannot do anything to the board unless they've been added to it and given that action. So, that is how you control the privacy of this board. You can make it more expansive or less expansive depending on your project. So now, we are going to take a look at a personal versus a team board assignment. Right up here, that first one we clicked on currently says we are private to the test team. So right now we're going to go to change team, and we're going to say this is a personal board. This no longer applies to a team. It's now ours. It's not under that team's name. So if I assign it to the test team, that means when the team opens up their team folder, they're going to see this board in that subject. And now I can assign it to the test team too, and it can go to them. So however we want to do that. And that's how you assign it to the teams or to yourself alone. Personal versus team starting, whatever. So now we're going to go to starting our teams. We're going to go back to our home page right here. We're going to click on create a team. And we're going to call this one the learning team. Hooray! There's a theme. We're going to go into our description, and we're going to say learning to use Trello team. So this is what our team is. So we're going to create it. Now we have the team itself, and we're going to go to members. Now we need people in our team. We can't just be a team with nothing else in it. So we're going to add Daedra. So we're going to find her email. We're going to type her in. Then we're going to add Emily. We're going to type hers out. So it's EAS8DC at mail.missouri.edu. And then there she is, Emily Stanley. And then we're going to add her. And we can invite to the team. Okay, so now this is our team, me included as Mo Review Tester. So we're all in here, and this is where we can change people's abilities. So like if I were to make Emily an admin, I can give her the ability to create boards, add people to the team, and if I were to give that to Daedra, I can do the same thing. and I could take those powers away from people. You also see the remove and leave options over there to the side, and there's an option to invite more team members. Now if we go to boards, we can create a new board, and this board will be created and involve our team automatically. So now we're going to have our learning team board. Hooray! It's going to have our learning team, and it's visible to the team with this lovely background of a beautiful little dolphin. So now we need to begin our board. We need to do exactly what one would do with any board. We're going to write a list. So what can we do? What can we do? What can we do now? We have a board. Hooray, we did it. Now we're gonna get rid of this. So you see we now have a board for our team that is specific to the learning team, and it's visible to the team. So we go back, and this is our boards tab. So if we look at our home, and you'll see like everything has changed. If you remember from the beginning, this is our news feed, our timeline. Then we go to boards, and now you have access to all the boards, my starred boards, my personal boards, all that. We're going to go back to this. We learned how to make a new board. We learned how to start our teams. And it looks like we've covered everything, except have we really? Because there's more. Look over here and you see a show menu button. So we now have discovered something, so we need to learn something. So we're gonna type over here, we're gonna type learn our menu options. Now let's show off a little bit and let's see what we can't do with this card. So we're gonna add a due date. We can do due dates. We're gonna make this Friday at noon. So this Friday, the 15th at noon, 12 p.m. Save. And then we're going to go and add a label. This is an important thing. And you know what? It needs work. So we're going to make sure people know that. So we put our labels on there. Awesome. We got 2 labels. We have a deadline. Okay. We don't really need to attach anything. And I don't think we need to assign, or actually let's say that everybody needs to be assigned on this. We'll go ahead and put everybody on it, including myself. We all need to know our menu options. So I'm going to click on menu options. And I'm going to add a comment. I'm going to make sure people know what's going on. We're almost done. So we just got to finish this out. This is the last thing. You know, motivate everybody. Let's do this. We've got one last thing to do, and it's this right here. So now you see I've commented on it, and I've done so much work that it's automatically given me the notification called watch. So it's telling me when things change on this particular card. It's helping me keep an eye on it. So now we're going to start a checklist. So how do we learn about our menu? We can learn about our labels. We can learn about our background. How about we learn about our background? And then we'll just look through and see what else can we do, you know? We're going to add that to our list. Alright, now we have a checklist. Now we have something that we can keep track of, and we're going to work at this. Great, so we've used some of our other skills to make a new card with a lot of color and a lot of fun to it. Alright, so now we can go through filter cards. It's a really cool option where you can literally search for a card under anything. You can type in its name, you can find its label, you can search for what its members are assigned to it, its due date, all of that, and you can search it right here in the filter. Then you can go back. We can go to stickers. These are the stickers that you have available. They're super fun, super cute. We're not going to get any more because that requires money, and we don't need that. So stickers are super fun if you want to be just super flirty about it. Backgrounds. Let's say we didn't want this gorgeous view of a mountain range, and instead we wanted a nice, cool Trello blue. Well, there it is. That's what it looks like. And now we decide, you know what? Maybe that's not enough. You know, we go down and we search through these pictures and we say, you know what, I think I want something really, really pretty. So I'm going to go with this nice flower that I saw earlier. Ooh, that is just wonderful. So now I feel like I am motivated because I have this beautiful flower in my background that I can help myself focus with, saying, man, look at all that pretty flower in the background. Here's our activity feed, so it gets you a general idea of what's going on this board. You can go to more. So now we have our settings. We can look at our labels. This is where I originally worked with our labels. You can create a new one, or you can edit them. You can change their color and their words. And then there's also a colorblind friendly mode, so for those of you who need that. We have our collections. This is unfortunately something that is only available for the business class, the paid version. It would organize everything into files again, so there'd be a file of lists of cards, and it would be more expansive. Here's our archive. If you remember earlier, we archived some lists. You could also archive cards, and you can put them in here, and then you can search your archives, and you can put it back on your board if you feel like you need to. So we have our email to board settings, we have our watch settings, we can copy our board, we can print and export our board, and we can put a link to this board so we can help make it visible to our members of our team or to others that we deem it necessary. So now that we've learned about our menu, we're going to go ahead and go in here. We can check, check, check. We have learned everything we need to in the menu options, so we can move that to learned, taken care of, and we know it is. Now look at all of these things that we've learned and we understand and we have under control. And now that we have it all figured out, we can go back to our boards and we can search other things, we can check our teams, we can do whatever we want.